Biology Class 10. Good morning, students. Today we will continue the same chapter, Chapter 4, Absorption by Roots, the process involved. In the last class, we have seen different methods or phenomenon that help in the transportation of water or minerals from the soil to the root hair or from a cell to the root cell or plant cell. Among the methods, we have discussed imbibition, diffusion, and partially osmosis. Today, we will continue our lesson with some experiments on osmosis. So here the first experiment that demonstrate about osmosis. So for this demonstration we will have two setup. One is experimental setup and the another is control setup. In both take two beaker. Beaker of the experimental setup will contain water. Here in the control setup it also contain water. Now just keep a inverted Thiessen funnel with concentrated solution or sugar solution in the Thiessen funnel and close the mouth of the Thiessen funnel with an artificial cell membrane called cellophane paper. In the control setup also keep a Thiessen funnel invertedly with water in it and cover the mouth again by the same artificial semi-permeable membrane, that is cellophane paper. Give support to the cell with a stain. Keep support to the Thiessen funnel with the stain. In both the setup, we will mark the level of the water. This is the level, initial level of water. Again, here it is the initial level of water. After leaving this experiment for few minutes, what we will observe, the level of water in the experimental setup rises, but here in the control setup the level of water remains same. This proves that osmosis takes place from higher solvent concentration to the lower solvent concentration. But in the experimental setup, here in both sides the solution, the nature of the solution is the same, so no movement. That's why the level of water does not rise in the control setup. Clear? So what are the conclusion of this experiment? See, in the experimental setup, some water of the beaker has passed through the cellophane paper to enter the Thiessen funnel containing the sugar solution. Sugar from the Thiessen funnel has not passed into the beaker. The cellophane paper has acted as selectively permeable membrane. It has allowed water molecules to pass through but not the sugar molecules. Clear all of you? We have one more experiment. We'll take a solution here in the beaker, place thistle funnel inverted, and the mouth is closed by a rubber sheet. What will happen? No changes because rubber sheets are impermeable. That does not allow the movement of any substance from one region to the another region. Clear? So cell membrane act as a selectively permeable membrane. Now come to the another topic, how long can osmosis continue? Theoretically, osmosis should continue until the concentration of water molecules become equal on both sides of the membrane in the experiment shown. The column of sugar in the Thyssen funnel keeps rising upward with the influx of water. Influx means endosmosis. Water movement move from beaker to the Thyssen funnel, and with it the height and weight of the column of solution would also increase. Such an increase in the height and weight of the rising column reduce further osmosis. A stage will be reached where no osmosis occur even if the concentration of water molecules is not the same on two sides of the membrane. In this state of equilibrium, the water molecules from the beaker tend to force upward through the membrane, but the weight or the pressure from above holds them downward. Now, this pressure that stops further osmosis is called osmotic pressure. So, see what is osmotic pressure. Again, we will take the same experiment. Beaker containing solution. Placed one Thyssen funnel in inverted position. Close the mouth of the Thyssen funnel with a semi-permeable membrane. Mark the level of water in the Thyssen funnel. After some time, endosmosis takes place and the level of water rises. But we can stop further osmosis. But how? If we insert a piston, this piston can stop further osmosis. So, this piston creates a minimum pressure exerted to nullify osmosis is called osmotic pressure. Once more, the minimum pressure that stop or nullify osmosis is called osmotic pressure. Getting all of you? Now next topic, tonicity. It is the relative concentration of the solution that determines the direction and extent of diffusion is called tonicity. Clear? So based on it, the solution can be of three types. One is hypertonic, second is hypotonic, and third isotonic. We will take 3 beakers. and all the three beaker A, B, C containing solution. A contain hypertonic solution, means higher solute concentration and less solvent. Hypotonic solution containing higher solvent concentration and less solute concentration. Isotonic equal solvent and solute. Clear? So all the beaker containing a particular type of solution, hypertonic, hypotonic and isotonic. If we will place a living cell, maybe animal cell or plant cell, in all the three beakers, what changes we will see? So see the first one. In the beaker A, which contain hypertonic solution, so this beaker containing less water, but the cell that is placed in it containing more water, so exosmosis takes place, that result into the shrinkage or flaccidity of the cell, means cell will shrink. Now come to the B. Beaker B containing hypotonic solution means higher solvent. So the solution that is outside the cell have more water than the inside. So here endosmosis will take place. Due to endosmosis, cell will bulge or distend, or it becomes turgid. Clear? Because water concentration is more outside the cell, so water from their higher concentration move to the lower concentration across a membrane. So it becomes bulge, and the condition is called turgidity or turgid. But in C, cell or outside the cell has same concentration, so no changes, no movement of solvent from any side to the other side. So what is tonicity? Relative concentration, the concentration on either side of the cell membrane. If it is cell, then it must have the cell membrane. So it is the relative concentration of the solute that determines the direction and extent of diffusion. Here direction is towards outside, here direction towards inside, and no changes. So here in both A and B, it is the solute that determines the direction. See one more example. It is root hair cell. So containing vacuole contain hypertonic solution to higher solute concentration, but the water in the soil are in their hypotonic solution, means more water, so water from their higher region move to the lower region. Thus endosmosis takes place and water is able to absorb water from the soil. Getting all of you? Now come to the active transport. In the last figure, we have seen that cell wall, cell membrane, nucleus, a large vacuole. what we have seen in the last figure. Here the solution, nature of solution is said to be hypo, and inside the root S it is hypertonic. It is hypotonic. So endosmosis takes place. But how do the minerals are absorbed? Because minerals concentration is less in salt and more in the vacuole, that is in the cell shape. There is more concentration of solute or minerals ion inside the cell compared to the outside, that is in the soil. And we are knowing that no any substance move from their region of lower concentration to the higher concentration. So how do the mineral ions are absorbed from the soil by the roots of the plant? So if any substance that are basically solute, if solute move from the region of their lower concentration to the region of higher concentration. So if it moves from region of lower concentration to the higher concentration, it is called against the concentration gradient. So once more, if solute moves from the region of their lower concentration to the region of higher concentration across a cell membrane, utilizing energy from cell membrane in the form of ATP. So if solutes are absorbed, these solutes are actively transported to the root hair cell, utilizing energy from the cell membrane in the form of ATP. This is called active transport. Getting all of you? For example, when you pull a bucket of water from a well, we have to provide energy. So if any substance move from the region of lower concentration to the higher concentration, it involves input of energy, and that energy is provided by the cell membrane. Clear? So today we'll stop our session here. Next day we'll continue same chapter with some other topics. Clear all of you? Okay, have a good day.